I want to talk a bit about a paradox when it comes down to achieving goals. It's very popular and normal to have a desire to get something and not feel happy or satisfied or fulfilled until you get that thing. And if you look deeply about the cause of this restlessness, is ultimately a slight doubt, at least a small doubt, that you might not get that thing. And there are two types of, I would say, inner tension, right? Or energy. Is this kind of energy which is unsettling, which forces you to just move towards that goal, which is dopamine induced, like goal focused, goal oriented. I need this thing and I'm not happy until I get it, right? So you offload your happiness, to that thing that if you don't have it, you're basically unhappy all this time. And this is not a good way of working and of living in a way, because if you are really a person who is like successful and obsessed about having and the pursuit itself, who likes the pursuit, to live in this state is not very conducive to a happy life ultimately. Why? Because you always live in tension. You cannot really enjoy the journey, as they say, and it's true, right? Because if you always look at the peak of the mountain and you don't see what's in front of you, first of all, you might stumble, right? You might get hurt because you don't know exactly where you are walking, and you are really not enjoying the journey, right? And really, the journey is 99.999% of life itself. Ultimately, right? Life is made up of ordinary moments, of ordinary days. And yes, in these ordinary moments and ordinary days, you can be in pursuit of something, but the pursuit itself should not be unpleasant, right? Should not be unfulfilling. So there is this part of focusing on the goal at the exclusion of everything else. You're missing, the landscape, you're missing the trip, you're missing the journey itself, which is most of it, right? Most of it, because even if you reach the goal, you enjoy it for 1 hour, for 1 day, for 1 week, for 1 month, especially if it's something material, if it's a new car, for example. If you think that a new car will fulfill you and make you happy, you will strive for 2 years to make the means to be able to buy the car. Then you enjoy the car for 1 week or for 1 month, and then that car becomes regular, your normal baseline, your day-to-day object. It's not special anymore. So the only thing remaining available to you is to seek the next thing, right? Which typically is maybe a better car or a nicer car or a more expensive car. And then you restart the cycle of pursuit with the same kind of mindset, right? I will just, discount, subconsciously, this is what people are telling to themselves. I will discount the value of these next 2-3 years until I get this next best car, because for sure, once I get this one, I will then be relieved, right? Because you prove to yourself that this happens, right? You have a pattern in which achieving something gives you this kind of relief, right? I now have this thing, I can feel happy about it. Look how good am I? Look what I achieved, right? But that's just temporary. And you already know that, right? You know that having something new in the same kind of achieving pattern, with the same kind of energy on the journey, keeps you unsatisfied and keeps you unfulfilled. And you are literally sacrificing your life for achieving that thing, which will only give you a temporary relief. And you don't know anything else. So you become addicted to the achievement of the goal itself, not to the process of achieving, which is most of what life is about, right? The process itself. So the journey of life, the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, this is what makes up your life. The actual achievement, it's just a peak experience, right? It's something that is momentarily experienced, and then yes, you can enjoy it for 1 day or 1 week or 1 month or whatever. But then even even the moment when you get it, you start to have this negative feeling then that, man, this is it. I'm pretty sure that it will happen again. I enjoy it. I like this new car or whatever, but you already know in that moment when you get it that this won't make it for long, right? It will tamper you down and your drive for one week, but not too much. And this is something that we experience also with smaller things, right? Like, for example, when I see my kids, they want an ice cream, and even if I think about something that I like, right, like some just a simple thing, it's the cycle of dopamine, right? It's the drive and the motivation to engage in pursuit to get some sort of a reward, which for our survival needs was very important, right? This kind of forward motion to get the next thing and never get satisfied with what we get. We see this translated in the real life with people achieving things in pursuit of objects, in pursuit of material possessions. But these material possessions are superficial, right? And we are built like that by evolution. We are biologically wired to pursue the next thing, right? To push forward, to never settle with what we have, to never be content with what we have, to discount the value of whatever we were able to achieve for the next thing, because that next thing typically was conducive to survival, right? Was more important to us to ensure our survival than to just be happy and grateful and settle with what we were able to achieve up to that point, right? So when and do this exercise for yourself. When you imagine like a good meal or something that you can have it, and you think about it more or less obsessively because this is something that you really enjoy and you like it, right? And you do everything, you go in motion, right? You do everything that you need to do in order to get that thing, be it an ice cream or your favorite food. And you have this mental picture and image in your mind that, yeah, when I will have it, it's so good, and I will, I remember how it tastes. And you have this movie, and this movie is constantly generating, just simply imagining and visualizing the pleasurable outcome forces motion, right? It keeps you on the move. It makes you think, okay, so I have to do this in order to do this, so I can get that. And then you start moving, right? And then you take action, and then you achieve that thing. But the actual enjoyment of that thing that you now have, be it an ice cream or your best meal, or whatever, it's not necessarily more pleasurable, like in a subjectively experienced way, than actually pursuing it and thinking about it and anticipating the pleasure that you will get from indulging in the ice cream, right? And this is by design, right? Because dopamine is secreted to make us move and achieve and motivate us to engage in the pursuit of achieving the thing. Now, once the thing is achieved, yes, we experience some pleasure, but that pleasure is fleeting because that is a goal accomplished. And now we have to focus on what we lack so that we can get the next thing, right? Because if we would just get, mission accomplished and now we are good forever, we will never achieve the next thing, right? We will never ensure our survival. So people don't see these patterns in their compulsive behavior to achieve and get new objects, new material things. And the economy is, capitalizing on our nature, right? It's this whole consumerism economy where you just buy the next thing, because if you don't have the new thing, the next thing, there is something missing. I need that new thing, So the problem with that, of course, is that you actually don't enjoy the journey that much. You discount the value of each moment that takes you to that journey for that thing that you get. But what about everything that you could enjoy along the way? What about the 99.99% of your life in which you only think about the next thing instead of actually enjoying what you have today? There is a way to actually enjoy that thing, or think, or like be grateful, or even know that you can achieve that thing. And because you know that you can achieve it, actually don't don't waste energy anymore in thinking about how you will get it, when you will get it, what happens if you won't be able to get it. Just make a decision that you will get it, and then just, enjoy the journey, right? Look at the peak of the mountain, and then look at the scenery. Just walk, make sure from time to time that you are still on the good track. Look at the peak. Okay, I know that I'm directionally correct. Look at your goal, right? Imagine it, visualize it, but then look at what's in front of you. Look at the process. Enjoy a good talk with friends on the journey to the peak of the mountain. Look at the scenery. Look at the flower. From time to time, just look. Okay, I'm still on the good track. But you always enjoy and honor the journey itself, because the only thing that you have to know is that you are directionally correct. You don't have to know exactly how you reach that destination, because that will unravel to you as you go, right? Instead of looking at the peak and always stumbling because you don't know what's in front of you, and stumbling, it's a metaphor for obstacles which typically we have in our life because we are obsessing with the goal, right? And instead of actually focusing on, integrating life as it comes, and learning everything that we can from our life experience, we discount the value of what happens until we achieve the goal, as if what happens is not really conducive to our goal, right? It's some obstacle that stays in front of me so that I cannot reach it. It's not like that. Of course, that everything that happens from the point that you decided to have the goal until you actually get the goal is an integral part of the journey, and is implicitly mandatory, if you think about it, to actually reach the goal, right? If you decide today, I will eat that ice cream on Sunday, what will happen? What could be a potential obstacle for me not to eat the ice cream? This is a more or less, trivial example, but the moment you decide on an outcome, then don't stress about it. You just know you have it, and then enjoy the journey towards it. If you decided already that you will have it, the willingness to have, it's enough to know that you will have it, because you will not forget what you want, right? You know what you want. And then you just do whatever it takes to get there while enjoying, the process to reach it. Because otherwise you would just miss the whole point. You will miss on living. You will discount the value of your life for a futuristic potential goal that you think will relieve you and give you happiness, but it will not. It will just be a peak experience that will fade away, and then you have to restart this whole cycle, and you will just miss on most of life, unfortunately. And I'm also, of course, talking from experience, because this is how I lived the first 30 years of my life. And I thought this is normal. And I thought that I have to reach a certain point until I am actually happy and I'm worthy of my own appreciation. And it's just such a stupid way of living if you think about it. But it's so reinforced by society, that push, 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 because the economy, benefits from it. The market benefits from our drive, that, we forget about our own happiness and fulfillment along the way. And that's very sad, to be honest. It's very sad. So you can have ultimately both things, right? If you know what you want, it's enough to get it, because the process of making it, it's not typically that complicated. Most of our goals are goals that are already achieved by a lot of people already. So we just have to reverse engineer what they did in order to achieve them. Of course, each of our situations are special and unique in a way, but ultimately we are not that special or that unique, so that the process doesn't apply to us. But instead of just executing the process, we are thinking about potentially not making it. What would happen if this happens? And instead of enjoying the journey and just execute the process that will inevitably take us there, we obsess and worry and doubt, which is unnecessary, right? So much energy spent on doubting ourselves if we can make it or not. This is really unnecessary. We just have to focus on the process, know that we will achieve it because we just decided, and then integrate every experience as it comes and learn what we can from it in order to get closer and closer to the goal. We will always be directionally correct, and that's enough. We don't have to know exactly upfront how we will get it, because it's not possible to know. If it's a complex goal and it's difficult to achieve, it's not possible to know all the steps up front. And we have to be comfortable with that. And instead of entertaining the doubt and the worry and the anxiety and the negative scenarios that we project that we might not make it and so on, we just focus on what we have in front of us. We decide internally that we will make it, and then only spend energy on things that will take us closer towards that goal. It's as simple as that. And this way of living is actually conducive to a fulfilling life because you actually enjoy the journey. You don't obsess with the goal. You don't question if you will make it or not. You decided already that you will make it. You know that you have the resources to make it. You trust yourself. You respect yourself with this belief because otherwise you discount your own value and your own capabilities. Just decide to do it, and it will take you how much ever it will take you. Doesn't matter. The important thing is that on the pursuit towards it, you actually live a nice life. You are happy. You are fulfilled, and you actually take the chance to enjoy the scenery and look around and see that ultimately the goal itself doesn't even matter that much. What matters is that you found a good way of actually enjoying your ordinary day-to-day life. And this is a secret. This is the secret to a life well lived, in my opinion, at least. Enjoy.